For this skills video, we're going to talk about the Hoyer transfer. The Hoyer that we have in lab here, we have a couple of different kinds, but this is what I'm going to show you, is also the Easy Stand brand Hoyer. So it has the Easy Stand, it has the same up and down or toggle switches or remote control like the Easy Stand has. It also has the emergency stop on the top. And the battery is also on the side here, just like the Easy Stand is. So it's kind of nice we have the same brand. A lot of facilities have the same brand for their machines as well. You open up the legs for that wide base of support over here. It does have the brakes on the bottom here, but we do not use those for the Hoyer, which you'll see in a little bit. For this machine, it has this safety emergency pull as well, so if it's up in the air and you needed to lower it because the battery died, you can pull that. It also has these hooks on here. A lot of times in the facilities, you'll see this stored with these in this bag in the back. Before you go and put this over top of a resident to transfer them, you want to put these hooks on beforehand because they are very heavy and you don't want to accidentally drop them on top of the patient. So you're going to put them on beforehand before you actually put it over top of the resident. Alright, the other thing that goes with the Hoyer is the sling. There's a lot of different kinds of slings that you're going to see out there. The one that we have in lab here is a very common one that's used. It looks kind of like a U shape and it has these handles on it. The handles go on the outside of the sling, so that's how you'll know that you have it in the right position. For this particular sling, when it's on the resident, it's normally about right underneath the shoulders. So it's about right here, positioned on the resident when you have it on correctly. And when you have this underneath the resident, which we're going to show you how to do, you're going to crisscross these parts through the legs here and then hook them up onto the Hoyer, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. So this is the sling that you're going to see. They do come in different sizes and they're normally color coded with on the outside here of what size they are. So you're going to see lots of different ones out there in the facilities, but during clinical you're going to be orientated to how these are used. Again, for this Hoyer, you have to be over 18 to actually use it in the clinical setting and work setting. In lab here, you will use it because it is an educational environment. For this Hoyer, it has right on the side here that it is a 600-pound capacity. So the Easy Stand is 400 pounds, this is 600 pounds. And it's called the Smart Lift. Alright, so for the Hoyer, I'm going to have my patient come in and lay down. And for Hoyers, you should always use 2 people for transferring with the Hoyer, okay? You don't want to use one. Some facilities might have a care plan for one, but state of Wisconsin says using 2 people is required. For your patient, for a Hoyer lift, that means they can't bear weight, they can't transfer any other way, so they have to use a machine to pick them up. They do need their shoes on for this transfer in bed before we even start, okay? So make sure you put their shoes on. I am going to raise the bed up to proper working height for me and my partner. To put this Hoyer sling underneath the patient, we're going to roll him, kind of like we did for occupied bed, and put it underneath. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to have him put his hands on his chest, cross his ankles in the direction that we're going to roll. My partner's just going to roll him towards her, and then I'm going to place this underneath.
1, 2, 3.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sling, and how I like to do it is I put like half of it on him. The other half I'm just going to roll up and tuck underneath him for my partner. You need to have your patient in the middle of this sling. You do not want to have it too far one way or the other because then he would be lopsided and that's unsafe. So once I get that in place, I'm just going to have him roll down, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to switch his ankles around and I'm going to roll him towards me so my partner can get her side out. 1, 2, and 3. Down you go. So he's right in the middle of the sling, okay? So like I said, we're going to take these straps on the bottom, and we're going to put them between his legs, and then we're just gonna crisscross them like that, all right? Now, to hook him up to the Hoyer, it works a lot easier for you and the resident if we raise the head of the bed up, because these straps up here are shorter than at the bottom. So we just raise the head of the bed up. On top of that, we're taking him from a lying position to a sitting position, okay? So we're gonna bring the Hoyer in here now with the hooks on before we bring it across him. When we hook up a resident, this should always make a T on his body, not an I. Okay, so we're gonna bring this across here. I'm gonna raise it up just a little bit. You put your hands down on your belly. Alright, so these straps have different colors on them. For the top, we want it as high as we possibly can because we want him at a 90-degree angle. So we're gonna put the colored strap and the safety strap together on there. And then down at the bottom, there's different colors. We want it as low as we can go as well. So we're just gonna go ahead and put this last one on here. Now we have to have our game plan ready before we move him. So we're gonna bring the wheelchair in and we're gonna have it locked, ready to go. In some situations, especially if your resident is really tall, you can lower the bed some before you raise him, just so that this isn't all the way up in the air and they're really high, just for comfort's sake. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to start. Again, we don't have the brakes on. We don't want the brakes on. And the reason for that is that if we start going up, and I had this machine way out here with the brakes on, and we started raising him, he would swing out to the machine, and that's not safe. If I start raising him up right now, and I have the brakes off, the machine will go to him, which is what we want to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and start raising up the Hoyer. You can just put your hands on your belly. Always encourage them to keep their hands on their belly just because you don't want them to hold on the straps. Once the straps have become taut, we're just gonna do a safety check. We're stopping, we're doing black, black, gold, gold. Everything's good. And now we can go up all the way. Now I have my remote that I'm using, and my partner's just going down to the feet. What we're doing here is as soon as his bottom is off the bed, then I'm grabbing a hold of this, and my partner is grabbing onto his feet. Relax your legs, sir. And we're just going to open up the legs, and we're gonna turn him and get him into his wheelchair. So I'm gonna come up here and kind of watch his legs in the front. At this point, my partner is back there, and she has those handles that she's pulling back on, and she's making sure that his bottom goes all the way to the back of the chair. I'm watching his feet and his head. I'm just gonna kind of pull this out. We wanna make sure this doesn't hit them in the head, and we wanna make sure that their feet don't hit anything on the Hoyer. We're gonna just lower this down enough that we have some slack to unhook everything. And then we can move this out of the way. For this, we don't leave the sling in an uncomfortable position. So a lot of times you'll just take this and you'll just pick up their leg, bring it off to the side here so that they don't have a whole bunch of stuff underneath him. In some facilities, you may fold this and leave this underneath them. In other facilities, because this does come out, once I have that out on each side, if I have my resident lean forward just a little bit, I can slide this leg out and he doesn't have to sit on it at all, which is the best for his skin. If that's the case, then he can go down to bingo, he can go to lunch, and then when we go to put him back into bed, we just do the opposite. If we just have him lean forward a little bit, we slide this all the way down to his bottom, and then we just bring these down to the sides. And the other side. Crisscross, and then we can hook them back up and we can put them back into bed. So you may see slings like this that are removed from the patient, or you may see full body slings that stay underneath them the whole day. Okay, you're gonna see different equipment out there for each type of Hoyer at each facility. And that concludes the Hoyer transfer video.